Okay, first one of the year of these style videos. I love these style of videos. I think they're very fascinating. They help me personally learn a lot about specific players, which is I'm going to dive into the analytics of Russell Wilson, talk about kind of some of his splits in certain areas. Also, yes, I'm off to the side of the screen. I will have the numbers on this side. That's how I'm planning on going. You can see how messy my or how not put together my room is currently, as I half moved in for about a couple weeks now into this new apartment, but no one cares about that. Back to Russell Wilson. There's some interesting analytics. I gotta be honest, there's just some downright bad analytics. That's what I see with Russell Wilson. It's actually terrible how some of these numbers are. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So first, this chart, to explain what you're looking at, this is going to be how well he has done and how well the team has done on passing plays, select distances down the field. So the column all the way on the left is going to be 20 plus, 10 to 19, 0 to 9, and then minus 0. That's yards down the field. So that's what you're looking at there. Those are the four categories. Then at the top, you see it's going to be in where did he rank in Pro Football Focus grade among other quarterbacks in throwing that distance down the field, in passer rating, and in attempt percentage. So how often is he throwing on those select areas? So, three things to look at. This is interesting because a lot of times we will see there's sometimes when you see, okay, this quarterback is great at deep passes, but for whatever reason, the team never throws deep passes. That's you look at Zach Taylor's teams when this happens and it's just all terrible. I feel like they never played to the strength of their team. Here, let's talk about what we see. So first, 20 plus yards down the field has not been great, which is a surprise, right? Russell Wilson is sort of known for his great deep passes, so that's maybe one of the areas that you have an issue right away with, is that he is not being as dominant down the field as we typically expect him to be. So that's one thing that immediately is a red flag. The team itself, though, has actually done okay, 16th in passer rating. So while Wilson hasn't necessarily been great, and again, some people just don't trust PFF grades, so then give your own opinion. That's fine. But I think they're pretty good. Not perfect, but I've always compared it to a batting average stat, right? It's not necessarily a perfect indicator of who's the best player, but it can be a pretty good indicator in how consistently do you make plays. So while that's down, the passer rating is still solid, though. It's middle of the road, which for the Broncos offense is good. They're doing a ton. I mean, fourth most attempt percentage that far down the field. So that's an interesting thing, is they're trying to make that happen. Wilson's trying to make that happen. The results are fine, so they should keep doing it because that's one of their better categories in terms of results. But Wilson himself has not been overwhelmingly great. And if he can start to get back to his, top 10, top 5 at 20 plus yards down the field range guy, well, that all of a sudden could turn that, solid results into great results. And with how often they're doing it, could potentially be a great thing. Or maybe the issue is they're doing it too much, and that's what's causing him to struggle. I don't know, but that's where they're at right now. At the 10 to 19 range, you have, again, not great stuff from Wilson. 30th out of, I believe it's 35 eligible quarterbacks, 15th in passer rating. So again, solid results, though. They barely do it. I mean, this is that section down the field, they just don't use, which, a lot of teams, that's kind of the main thing of their offense. So really not what this Broncos team has done, and maybe that's something to have to do more of, is just put the ball in that range. They're pretty much either throwing the ball under 10 yards down the field or 20 plus yards down the field. Again, 0 through 9, Wilson is still not great, 26th. His, passer rating is not great, so the offense as a whole isn't doing well when he's throwing these short completions, and they're doing it, middle of the road. They're not doing it a little amount of time. So maybe that's something where you could, throw a little bit more in the 10 to 19 range. Maybe that could be a good idea if you're the Broncos. I sometimes don't even put the behind the line of scrimmage stuff on the chart because, to me, it's mostly luck. Okay, Russell Wilson's performed the best there, but I mean, there's usually only a couple PFF points separating, guy 5 from guy 25. So it's hard to, really, take too much into account there. But if you want to, the attempt percentage is interesting. They, throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage in a normal amount. So not that interesting, I guess. But that's what we have there. Maybe the slight takeaways are that maybe throw to 10 to 19 range a little bit more. But to me, my biggest takeaway is that nothing's really working right now. There's no distance they're doing great at. Usually there's one distance you're doing pretty good at. You could argue the offense is doing solid 10 plus yards down the field. I think that's maybe the biggest takeaway is maybe throw less 0 to 9. But for Russell Wilson, he's not doing well at any of it. In fact, going over to this next chart, you're going to see a lot of very similar things. So you see the PFF grade and passer rating under select circumstances. So first, under pressure, he's 24th in PFF grade and 28th in PFF grade, 24th in passer rating, and then kept clean, it's nearly identical. So there's not really a big difference there. And just to be clear, this is among other quarterbacks when they're under pressure or kept clean. So not just in general, because that would obviously sway it significantly. So not a big difference there. Also, the under 2.5 seconds and over 2.5 seconds, not a huge difference there either, but he's actually a little bit worse over 2.5 seconds, which is another fascinating thing for me. Because, again, with Russell Wilson, he's never been considered the great game manager quarterback, which is weird because he won a Super Bowl as a game manager, but he, even that was kind of an untraditional game manager. Did a lot of work with did a lot of stuff with his legs in that one, and obviously Marshawn Lynch was a big part of that offense. But he's kind of known for being the guy who, when a play breaks down, he can scramble out and he can be great at those over 2.5 second plays. Well, he hasn't been. This season, he hasn't been. So is he washed up? Well, if you believe so, this number would point to that. But again, to me, the bigger takeaway here is that all these numbers are bad. They're all bad. It's not like he's been good in one specific situation that you can try to mold your offense around. He's been bad in every situation, which is just, it's tough to work with. And finally, I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put this on the screen, but I don't know if I have to tell you that. You know where it is on the screen now. The final chart, which is kind of a different shape than the other charts, you have PFF grade, big time throw percentage, turnover-worthy play percentage, adjusted completion percentage, time to throw, and average depth of target. So one by one, PFF grade not great, 29th in football. So been one of the worst quarterbacks in football through 5 weeks according to them, and according to people who watch his tape. I mean, it's not been great. One thing worth noting, this is maybe the one bright spot. I think this is the best takeaway from this video that's otherwise been very discouraging if you're a Broncos fan, is the big time throw percentage 15th. So again, not great, but at least it's been solid. At least that's one thing that he's been okay at so far through 5 weeks, is he has had some highlight reel level plays, if you trust that stat, which again, I'm willing to trust. I don't think it's not my favorite PFF stat by any means, but it's a stat to look at. And if you're a Broncos fan, you're saying, yes, great stat. It's actually the only stat I look at right now because it's the only one that's pretty good for Wilson. To be clear, also, the turnover-worthy play percentage is that's 23rd highest, which is 13th best, is another way to put it. So I never know exactly which way I should go with that one, because you could argue either way. Kind of a difficult, is first to best or is first to worst? I don't know how you should do that, but just to be clear, his turnover-worthy play percentage actually has been pretty good as well. So that's those two things he's done a good job at: big time throw percentage, turnover-worthy play percentage. That's what he's doing a good job of. You just want to see more consistency. The single plays are the ones that he has to do good. And honestly, he hasn't done a great job at it, right? He's been mediocre at that stuff. You still have to be better because that's kind of what he's known for, right? So if you're known for making big plays, if you're only mediocre there, you're probably not going to look so great. So you also want to hit more of those things and, doing a good job. Again, 13th in turnover-worthy play percentage, as in 13th best now. That stuff you'll take, but it's the adjusted completion percentage, which is basically completion percentage, but also factoring in dropped passes or, plays that the quarterback could not control. And this one is 28th. So again, that has to be better. It has to be better. They have to find ways to, get easier completions. They have to find ways for Russell Wilson to be able to hit the completions more. Time to throw, he's still holding on to the ball for a while as well. So even though they will throw the ball, not that far down the field, he's holding on to the ball for a minute, which maybe leads me to believe there's not guys getting open down the field, which is why he's holding on to the ball and still throwing these checkdowns. But he's also will throw deep down the field. So his average depth of target is 10th highest in football, even though he's pretty relatively high, as we talked about in that first clip, of throws a decent amount of, 9 yards or fewer passes. So just kind of interesting how it really is a boom or bust strategy right now for the Broncos, and it's been a bust so far. But while I just ripped him to shreds with all these numbers, that's okay. You have time. It's been 5 weeks. You do not have to panic yet. You can trust that he will get better, but Is there some secret thing where he's actually been just as good as he's always been and the Broncos are ruining him? No, he's playing poorly. But, maybe that's a good thing because maybe he'll start playing better and then your issues are kind of fixed. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's what I think about all this. What do you guys think about these numbers? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.